Hello, everyone. This is your host and founder, Aileah, back with another phenomenal episode of I'm Breaking Into Tech. Now, I'm really excited about this one. I know last month, if you all are watching this in present time, last month was Women's History Month. But first of all, women, we're just so great that I just had to bring on another panel full of women. Couldn't have everybody on the last one, but we have some great founders here that are here to talk to you about how they view empowerment through innovation, whether that be them leveling up in their careers, starting side hustles and branching into full-blown businesses, and also them empowering their communities through innovative rideshare companies. So I'm really excited about this because not everyone wants to break into tech as an employee, but there's other ways that you can actually scale your career and also scale as a professional externally by starting your own business. So super excited to bring these individuals on today, and be sure to let us know where you all are tuning in from. If you all know and are familiar with myself, again, my name is Aileah. I'm located in North Carolina, so I am born in Jersey, so I'm a Jersey girl first, but Bull City raised. If you all know anything about Durham, North Carolina, so if y'all hear like a weird tone or accent, it's because I got a northern parent, but I've been down here like all my life, so bear with me. And then also I'm Caribbean. So let us know where you all are tuning in from, what city or state. See some people already in the chat, and I will bring in our guests. All right. Hello, ladies. How you all doing? So everybody's on mute. Y'all can unmute yourselves.
Yes. Hi, Aileah. Doing well. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, we're good over here.
Awesome.
Yes,
so
good evening.
While everybody is tuning in, I know we sometimes have some people that pop in over time. Just remember, you all, if you're tuning in for the first time, we always like to know where you're tuning in from. So what city, what state, what country. Sometimes we have people internationally. I know we've had people from Madrid, France, Israel before. So I'm excited to see if we have any international onlookers today. But without further ado, I'm going to go around the room. I think you all are in the same order that I can see. So Kim is beside me, Amelia is below me. Is that what you all see? All right, so we're going to go around the room in that order. I would love to you just to introduce yourself, your position, the name of your company, and where you're currently located.
Yeah, so thank you, Aileah, for having me. I'm so excited to share your space this evening. So I'm Kimberly Evans. I am a servant of others. I'm a wife of over 27 years, a mom. I'm a grandmom of one. I am the founder and CEO of Just Her Rideshare. We are a women-centric and community mobility company made for women, by women, where safety, comfort, and community ride together. And we are based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and six other cities in North and South Carolina.
That is awesome. I can't wait to hear your story, Kim. I'm really excited to hear that, especially because it is all female company, right? Love that.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And we can move down to Monique.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I am Monique Davis. I am a global talent leader and people strategist. I've been in that industry well over 10 years. I have a love for tech and all things tech. I also have an app in beta stages. And I'm the founder also of Fresh Talent Solutions. So I'm excited to be here, and thank you so much, Aileah, for having us. We appreciate this platform.
Hey, everybody. My name is Amelia. Real quick, is anyone calling in from California? I'm just curious, but if not, it's all good. Um, my whole mission is to help move women from fear into action around launching their side hustles or cultivating additional income streams. And currently, I'm doing that as the founder inside the Fearless Collective, the Fearless Her Collective. Aside from that, I'm also a mom and a military wife, and I am based here in the Bay Area. And I love to hold social events here to connect people together as well.
Love that, lady. So such a unique panel we have here. I'm really excited to dig into all of you all story. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. I know y'all saw that flyer switch up. So we went from 4 founders down to 3. Just for those who are curious, one of our founders, she's not a founder, I'm sorry. She's a regional sales director of technical account management, and she actually had to fly out of the country for her work. So that's really cool. I think that's awesome. But that's the reason why she wasn't able to join us, but you will be able to meet her in the future. So I just want to address that elephant in the room. But if you're just tuning in again for the first time, please let us know where you're tuning in from. I saw we have Naples, Florida. We'd love to know where everyone else is tuning in from. And while we are doing that, I wanted to open up the floor to Kimberly. If you would, can you tell us a little bit more about your company, Just Her Rideshare, and what motivated you to start that? Just give us a little overview of what that is and what motivated you to start it.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I didn't conceive this in my youth. Like, I didn't dream it at 12. In fact, I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to start a ride share for women. I was actually introduced to this industry as a business opportunity. And it resonated with me very quickly because I was someone who had never taken a ride share. I grew up stranger danger, literally. And I didn't take my first ride share until last year when I was working in Paris with a group of women in mobility. Literally, my first ride share alone. I'd taken one with my husband before, but it resonated with me very well, even though I understood the disruption and the innovation in the industry. And there were times when I needed it when I traveled for work. But I was still not eager to take part in this, hopping into strangers' cars and all of that. But so once it resonated with me, I felt this sort of call, this pull toward this was something that not only that impacted me, but I wanted to see if there were other women who felt the same way, who wanted to have options to choose how we experience riding with others. And so there was a call to action. And then I started down a path of customer discovery to see if we had a product market fit, or even if we had a problem market fit. I wanted to see if women really wanted it. And there was a lot of discovery. And when I made the connection that women actually wanted what we were offering, it became more than just a company or a business. It then became a service. And I knew that I had to create this safe space for women. So there's a lot there in terms of what we discovered in terms of this industry and how it has impacted women around sexual assault, serious sexual crimes, even murder. There are a lot of statistics out there that prove that this has been a very unsafe industry, and very little done to protect women. And so we wanted to create that safe space. So that's how we got started.
Well, thank you for that, Kim. That's a very motivating story, especially because you said you didn't start it within your youth, and that you started it. You just took your very first ride share just last year. So, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but when did you actually found this company?
So we started building during COVID, 2020. So we there was no real rush to market. The world was shut down, and so we had some time to figure it out. We had some time to do customer discovery. We spent a lot of time at UNC Charlotte in programs doing customer discovery through NC Idea and using great platforms like Unbiased and Innovation Within that really helped us to find our customer segment. And so once we, post COVID, we did a soft launch in 2022, sort of tested, did a beta test, and then we officially did our hard launch, or what we call post MVP, second quarter of 2023. So we're coming up on 1 year post MVP.
Now, can you explain what MVP means for those of us who are not in the startup world.
Yes, it is your minimum viable product. It is the thing that you start with ideation and you kind of figure out what you want, but it's the bare bones. It's you're not building something great. You're building something that people can throw up against the wall and give you feedback and then help you build the next iteration of what a great technology platform would be. One of the things I learned is that you never want to build something that no one wants. And the
Hmm.
best way that you can find out is to put it out there raw, as ugly as it is, and get the best feedback that you can. I remember my team used to say, "Oh, you want it perfect," and I would say, "No, I don't want it perfect. I just want it to work." And so we put out a really, really great MVP, and now we've adapted to sort of new technology to help us scale quicker. But yes, we went through all of that, and it was a really great experience. And Ali, I got to tell you, I started as a non-technical founder as well, so
Okay.
you can imagine what that journey was like. And now
Hmm.
I now call myself a minimum. I used to call myself a minimum technical advisor, and now I feel like I'm a full blown tech company now. So
You
yeah,
definitely are. And I think this is so interesting and the timing is interesting because um just the fact that it's made to empower women, right? Make us feel a lot safer when we're traveling home, we're traveling to work, we're just traveling in general. Um and I actually had an experience recently, and it wasn't necessarily dealing with the ride share, but just right here, not too far from Charlotte, by the way, and where a man, I was actually pumping my gas, and a man pulled up on the other side of the gas pump, and he tried to sell me AirPods, but he had a big white van, and I couldn't understand what he was saying at first because he was speaking so quickly, and then I think he also had an accent, so I didn't understand what he was trying to sell me or say rather. So I said, what did you say? And he tried to get me to come closer, and I said, no, I'm not coming closer. I said, what did you say? He said, oh, would you like to buy some AirPods? I said no, and I said it like really really aggressive and like loud. And then he actually looked at my car and saw that there was somebody sitting in my car, and he sped off. But I can just imagine for
Mm,
those young women or even young men, right? Because we're not the only ones who are trafficked, right? But for those who
yes,
don't have that same thought process, we just think everyone is just innocent. Everything's innocent, or we think that, oh, that can never happen to me, right? You don't realize that you can be so close to something like that. So imagine some of those individuals who may have been like, oh yeah, let me come closer, let me see what he's talking about. I would have been
yeah,
gone. We would not be having this podcast. That was literally a week ago. And
yeah,
what I
yeah,
saw last night on the I was looking through social media, and I saw just last night, and you may be aware of this. I actually saw a um a post talking about men standing outside of a rodeo in Texas, and they had their cell phones, and they had Uber and Lyft just flashing on their cell phones where they were posing as Uber and Lyft drivers. So for those who
yes,
were uneducated about how to even call for a ride share, like it's not just like having a taxi cab like we did previously, or we still do today, where you can just hail a taxi. You do have to go through those safety precautions to even get on the app and request one. But just thinking about how many people feel comfortable with doing that, that indicates that people, they've been successful in the past. So I love
yes,
what you're doing with your company, just to say the least, because it truly is the
yeah.
epitome of empowerment.
Yeah. And Aaliyah, can I just say one thing that's so important? On my discovery phase to building this company, I stumbled across a young woman, Samantha Josephson. You guys may have heard. She was the student at USC Columbia that hopped into what she thought was her Uber after partying with her friends and was abducted and brutally murdered. And that story shook me. In addition to having a personal friend of mine who we had partied the weekend before. On Monday, she went to work. She was waiting for her ride. She was abducted and brutally murdered, and they didn't find her murderer for 12 years. There
Mm,
are some real serious crimes that are happening, in particular to women, that go unreported.
mm-hmm.
There is a cautionary tale to people who hop into cars and don't really think about it. Sometimes we spend a lot of time trying to raise the level of awareness for women that it's not maybe you think someone's going to hurt you or abduct you every time you get into a vehicle. but sometimes you do need to check. Use your gut and check, because these people who are standing outside with Uber phones and all of these people are not covered for one. So if you get into their vehicles, anything could happen. First of all, you're unprotected. These people
Mm-hmm.
are poaching customers from platforms like mine and the Ubers and the Lyfts. It is so dangerous. These people could abduct you, they could rob you, they could hurt you. Many of you are leading these people to your homes
Right.
for a few dollars. And I tell our
Mm-hmm.
drivers all the time, you can try this, but I promise you, if something happens and there is a liability issue, just because you saved a customer $3 or $4 or $5, they're going to come for you, your mom, your dad, and everybody else they can get you if something happens. So just be careful. Don't do that. We spend a lot of money to protect you as customers and drivers. So I would caution anybody who's just hopping into vehicles with people who don't have permits and license to do that. So, and thank you for letting me share that, because that's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's this is a topic that I'm super passionate about. We had a have a guest that says trust your gut, and I agree with that, right? But even if you don't have that gut instinct, just think about what's going on in the world. Don't be so naive. And this, I made a post on one of my other social media platforms because I actually talked about this. I didn't post it on LinkedIn. I probably should have, but I didn't. Um, 'Cause I speak more candidly on my other platforms. But I was encouraging people to, when you're pumping your gas, because whenever I pump my gas, and most people, we're in a rush, right? Sometimes, especially as ladies, we don't be thinking about that. Like the last minute, we're trying to get gas before we go to this place or that place. So you're not really thinking about like your surroundings like that. So you may be on your phone, especially now that they have where you can tap your phone to pay for gas and what have you. But I even encourage people, like, do not be on your phone when you're at the gas pump, right? Try to be as aware as you possibly can. Look at your surroundings. And for the life of me, if you do not have to stop at one of those mom and pop gas stations, please don't stop there. And if you don't have to go inside, don't go inside either. Just don't trust it just because it is an establishment. Because a young lady out here, um, just 30 minutes away from where I live, she was abducted, or she's missing, right? We were just going to assume that she was abducted just a few weeks ago in Greensboro, North Carolina, because someone approached her at a gas station. They stole her belongings, also stole her phone, like basically robbed her from her belongings in her car. And she actually went inside of the gas station to call the police and alert them, which she was able to call them. But by the time that they came to her, they couldn't find her, right? They couldn't find any trace of her. So I always encourage people in general, if you don't have to stop, don't. And even if you do stop at a place like that, just try to get enough gas so you can get down to a safer area, a well-lit area. But you just have to be on your P's and Q's all the time, and really it's just not a friendly time to even want to help people that may be standing on the side of the road who may be
Mhm.
soliciting. You might have a kind heart and you really want to give them stuff, but you don't know if that person is legitimate or not, or if they're going to harm you when they come up to your car. So it's unfortunate that we have to operate like this now. But you truly don't know. You truly don't know what people's intentions are. So I just wanted to encourage you all there. And this is a really good segue to talking about side hustles, right? Because a lot of us are familiar with the Lyfts, the Ubers, the Just Her ride shares, the DoorDashes, whatnot, where people are using these as side hustles, so sometimes a means for full time employment. And that's just because of the economy that we're in, right? We in the tech industry have been hit very, very hard with layoffs and acquisitions. But also other industries have been hit just as hard. And we're just in this space now where you have to almost have two to three streams of income, just as a regular everyday person to survive. So I would love to segue to Amelia, especially with your business, Fearless Her, to just learn a little bit more about what motivated you to start that business and also your professional background.
Yeah, sure thing. So, professional background, I guess we'll start there because that's when I was full-time side hustling. So, I spent 5 years inside the people space. So, I did everything from full cycle recruiting to managing onboarding programs, performance management, all the way through offboarding. So, the whole employment life cycle, and I loved it. And during that time, I started side hustling because I started sharing stuff that I was learning, like negotiations and interview best practices on Instagram. And people started asking me to pay for it. So I didn't even know I could get paid for something that I thought was easy to know, I guess. So I kind of took, I don't know the words for it, but I didn't realize at that time that my expertise in a certain area was filling a need that could then allow me to generate income. So I started side hustling with it. And I was one of the people about 7 months ago that had gotten laid off from a tech startup. So I was most recently at a biotech startup. And once I got laid off, I was like, you know what? I spent a lot of time in the people space. I know this game. And so I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go all the way in. And so I did do just that. And very similar to our other panelists, I did a discovery phase where I started off with the Fearless Collective of bringing just all kinds of women together and seeing what the need was. And my idea there was I wanted to cultivate a space that I needed and that I wish that I had, and that other people, if I'm sure I wish I had it, other people would probably wish that they had it too. And during that time, I found that I was attracting a lot of career women who wanted to launch side hustles, but like me, they were afraid to put themselves out there to actually launch the hustle. So that's how the Fearless Her Collective was kind of birthed, was going through looking at kind of something I struggled with my fear of not wanting to jump into full-time entrepreneurship and holding on to that stability. But once that stability was gone, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do everything that scares me. And so I'm attracting a lot of other women that are willing to do the same thing. And so we're going to start running pretty soon this summer.
I love that. So we're catching her before she's even big. So y'all heard it here first.
Let's
Y'all
run.
heard it here first. I'm super excited about that. But a reason why I wanted to segue from Kim's story about her company to yours is because of that story. Like you are a product of being laid off and then just saying, well, no, I'm just going to bet on myself, right? I'm just going to bet on myself, and I'm going to make sure that no one has control over my livelihood anymore, right? And I love that because that is the epitome of empowerment, right? So not only were you empowering yourself, you also are empowering other women to do the same thing and truly bet on themselves. And I can imagine now that you're in this space where you are able to work for yourself, being a military wife, right? You all travel a lot, I'm sure. And then also, I know you said you have children, and I believe you said this offline, but I think you said you are about to start homeschooling. That's empowering as well. And you can control your schedule, you can control your income versus having to wait or request that time off, and also beg for those extra cents for a salary increase from your management, your boss. So I would love for you to talk about maybe one of your most inspiring stories from one of your recent clients and how you were able to take them from where they were to where they are now.
Yeah. So the first thing, I'm not fully homeschooling my daughter. I'm taking her out of daycare. So just in case people know me, they're like, wait a minute, her son is still in school. So my daughter, I'm taking her out of daycare and she'll be with me. So she'll be like the best assistant ever, is what I'm guessing. And she'll be able to see me build this thing from the ground up. So as far as being inspired, it's actually from one of my previous coworkers. We worked together at the tech startup company. And during that time, I was coaching her, but on a employer-employee type relation. So I was still kind of representing the business. And she's like, hey, if you ever leave, you're going to be my coach. And so when I left, I became her coach. And she decided to start partnering with nonprofits. And she's currently forming her own nonprofit right now. And I can't give too many of the deets because I did not get her permission to do so. So I can't say her name, but I'm hoping that I can promote her on my page soon. But what she wants to do for students is just absolutely incredible. And she'll be using her expertise as a scientist to do it.
Awesome.
And as a Black scientist, shall I say. So
Ooh,
that's all I can say
okay.
for now. But she has a lot of interest in this new project that she's building out. And so I'm super excited for it because I think it's going to help make a major impact. And I do have one more that I want to share. Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I also know someone else who is a nurse by day, and she told me that she had always had a passion for photography. And so I'm like, let's do it. Launch your photography side hustle. And she put herself out there and she's taking photos. And she actually just took my last branded shoot photos and she's starting to book clients now as well. So she went from being super, super scared to even say that she takes pictures and she wants to do photography to now booking clients.
I love that. And that's the epitome of being a fearless her, right?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
where the
fearing
name
less.
inspiration?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's looking at the things that we're scared of, and then instead of letting it paralyze us, it's like, you know, I see you fear, I recognize it for what it is. I'm going to still do it anyway. I'm still going to move, and as I move, I'll start to fear less. So that's the
Right.
whole idea behind being fearless her.
I love your creativity. That is so awesome. Yeah, exactly. She's a poet. Sleeping on your poetry skills, right? So I see more people tuning in, and I appreciate you all tuning in. But I want to know where you all are located. So where are you from? Where are you sitting right now? What city? What state? What country? Let us know. Let us know. And while you all are doing that, this is such an inspiring panel. This is the most intimate panel that I've ever had. And I mean by as far as size, because we're usually deep, but I love this because we're able to really dig into everyone's story and just see how different everyone is, but also how similar everyone's mission is. So I truly, truly love that. And while everybody's letting us know where they're tuning in from, I think we saw Georgia. I know we saw New York, we saw Atlanta specifically, we saw Florida. So let us know where you all are tuning in from. But while we're doing that, I want to open up the floor to Monique. Monique, she definitely has a very, very interesting background, like wearing multiple hats from our conversation. And I really want to shed light on the fact that not only am I a product of human resources. If you all don't know much about my background, I spent over 10 years in HR and recruitment. But now I work in the software industry in HR tech. So I actually broke into the tech field as a solutions architect in 2022, which is insane, right? Going from HR, recruitment, and all that stuff to jumping into that. Did not like it, which is why I'm not doing it anymore. But it's just the experience I thought was very unique. So I love to meet other individuals who come from the people world, the HR world, and to see how they've been able to blossom and find their true niche. So I would love to hear a little bit more about you, Monique, and your experience and your background.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say, can we give kudos to such an amazing panel? These ladies are truly kicking butt and doing what they're supposed to do, which is make impact. And I just want to say that. Can I just say that real quick? Okay. And yes, there we go. So as far as I am concerned, my background, I would say one thing I read on your page, it said unconventional professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely speaks to me because I would say that I am for sure unconventional. So I got into the world of recruiting by accident. I was in the world of entertainment, and I was a part of some of your some shows you probably know really well in the castings of it. I did a lot of castings and things like that. This was years and years ago, even before I had my son, and so. Eventually, I got into recruiting because I came to a staffing agency and I was going for, I was like, okay, I'm going to give me a real job because casting it's not doing what I'd like it to do. And I got an executive assistant callback. So I did that and it was a great interview. But while I was interviewing, the recruiter said, I just don't see you as an executive assistant. I really see you as someone in recruiting. And so that's how it went. She told her branch manager, and I started my career in recruiting. And I will have to admit, it has gone up ever since then. I was able to work with some amazing companies. I taught myself sourcing. I taught myself recruiting and talent acquisition. And then just really, really was passionate about helping people get placed into positions. And I I went from talent acquisition to, I guess, fast forwarding to talent development, and is more performance coaching, talent management, the culture of the company. and enhancing, people operations and even career development. A lot of the categories that I deal in would be SaaS, telecom, tech, marketing tech, any type of tech, to be honest. I truly love. And, right now, beyond the professional piece, I'm passionate about just helping people identify who or what they're supposed to do next, who they are, who they truly are, and what are their superpowers, what are their true talents, and helping them, once they identify those true talents, go forward with a plan, get a job search strategy together. I do that from a more of a passion place. I have a nonprofit called Daughters of Destiny, and so the young ladies there, they are the ones who receive most of my career readiness and helping them to build into to become better leaders. And then on the consulting side, I left corporate 2018, and when I left corporate, I actually put into there was this accelerator program called Ascend 2020, and it's sponsored by JP Morgan Chase and Morehouse College. And I said, okay, I recruit tech, but I'm more like Kimberly. I'm not necessarily a tech person, but I love technology. So I had this idea, and I said, I want to try this out. So I had never created requirements before, any of those things. And I submitted, and I got a call back. I was one of, they had hundreds and hundreds of applicants. It was all over the news in Atlanta. And, they picked my app, and it's called Talent to Go. And it's, we're in beta stage, we're in MVP stage. We are still building and revising new technology, as Kimberly, you probably already know. But the whole point of Talent to Go is to basically, the mission came about because I was a small business owner. And while I was doing small business, I was just like, I'm going to these freelancing marketplaces. I won't call any names. I'm going to these freelancing marketplaces, and I'm not really finding true talent. Like they can do it sort of, and some, it's like a hit or miss. Sometimes I'll get really great work, other times I won't. Then other times there's a language barrier. It was just all of these different things. And so what Talent to Go's mission at that time was to serve as a catalyst by instantly connecting companies with fully vetted, highly qualified talent, and using an AI technology to match the talent with that small business's team culture, right? And we put in within 14 days or less, to make it make it attractive. So that app is still in the making. We're still, like I said, still revising it, but ultimately anything dealing within talent development. Most of my clients are startups and small business and mid-sized businesses that need a boost in their team cohesion. They need a boost in team performance, and really just understanding exactly who their teammates are. When they leave out of one of my workshops, they're a better team together. They know how to complement each other's strengths and identify blind spots. And so in the course of 15 years, I've gone from talent acquisition, a little talent management, and talent development. And I'm staying in talent development because I love it. But I also utilize all of my skill sets while I'm building this app. So that's my professional background.
I love that. I love that, Monique. And you have a lot of different talents, but ever since you were just talking, I was thinking, well, she keeps saying talent acquisition and talent management, but I'm hearing Scrum Master, project manager, recruiter. I'm hearing all of that. So you can do it all. And that's so interesting as well, because the world of people management, HR, we end up doing it all, and you really don't realize what role you're doing until somebody pulls you to the side, like you said, and help you identify what your skill set is. So I'm a huge component of that as well. in my coaching days, and I say coaching days because I don't really do it that much anymore. It's a lot of work, right? That's the same thing that I would do for my clients. Is my goal was to help them identify their superpower, just like you said, in their strong suit. And right now, I specialize in focusing on helping those who are identified as neurodivergent, and those who may have ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, things that I have and or have been diagnosed with. A lot of my friends who are very successful in their careers recently found out that they have those as well. And
Mm.
once you find that out, and I'm a solo myself because I want y'all to hear this. But once you figure out, once you learn that you have a neurodivergence, and for those who don't know, that is I say an unseen disability, right? It's
Mhm.
those neurological issues where, you might get distracted really easy, or you may sit on a project very, very long, or you may get so overwhelmed by everything that you have to do that you're just, analysis paralysis. And that happens to me a lot of times. Like, I'm just like, where do I start? I don't know what to do first, right? Um, once you find out that once you are able to identify that you have a different type of neurodivergence, that just opens up a new world for you, and it helps you truly be more successful in life, not just in your career but in life. You're never going to get rid of that, but you can understand now how your mind works, and now you can understand how to set up your life around it. And the reason why I wanted to call that out is because a lot of people that work in the people industry, whether that is talent acquisition, human resources, or recruitment, um, compensation and benefits, employment law, all of that. A lot of us, we wear so many different hats, and we have so many different talents. But if we do a career switch, like I end up doing, like Monique did, like Amelia did, and even Kim did, if we do a career switch, sometimes we go from doing all of those things to now just doing one thing, and we lose that motivation, or we end up falling into a depression or things of that nature. So it's really, really important. It's really important first to identify, if you do have some type of neurodivergence, and the best way to do that is, of course, to speak to a therapist, and even just take some little assessments. There are assessments online you can take that are free, just to be able to first identify those things, and then that can help you identify what career path you need to go in. So I tell a lot of my peers and clients who may have signs and symptoms of ADHD that you will make an awesome recruiter, and you will make a great project manager. And the reason why, and you also make a great salesperson. And the reason why is because if you have ADHD, your mind is a million places at once. But once you focus on something, you are laser focused, and you don't stop until you achieve that. So if you are in sales, you're going to get the big bag. You are going to make that big money, right? And the same thing, even though your mind is everywhere, if you are a project manager, you thrive on things that are organized, right? You thrive on things that are a little bit more structured, because you need that in order to focus. So even though your life may be chaotic, you can actually bring, if your job is to bring things together and make things more holistic, you achieve that and you excel at that. Like being a project manager or being a program manager in my case, um that's probably the best career decision that I personally have made, because it helps me, it makes me feel like I have a purpose, right? But also it shows me, it brings out that superpower, but that's a part of my neurodivergence, or a part of my weakness, that shows that, hey, even though I'm experiencing these things, I can pull out these great aspects of myself and I can let them shine. And I love telling people about that, because especially people of color, first of all, we don't talk about this very often, right? We don't talk about mental health, we don't talk about any type of neurodivergence, but it can really help you excel in your career and also in your business, and just help you just make life a lot easier for yourself overall. So I think it's really a very interesting thing that you have so many different hats, and then you also talked about helping your clients find their superpower. That just reminded me of the neurodivergence thing, so I wanted to pull that up.
Yes,
But thank you for that. So I wanted to circle right back around. Hopefully I'm not lagging, y'all. I apologize. I wanted to circle right back around to Kim really, really quick. I know you mentioned this very briefly before, that you did not start your business in youth. And I wanted to know why you felt that that was significant to mention, and then what when did you actually start your business? What motivated you to start your business at this time specifically? Did you actually have a personal instance with incident with the rideshare, or was it just the fact that you had so many people in your circle, like you told us before?
Um, so when I talk about, starting in my youth, you know how you hear people say, "Oh, I've always known what I wanted to do. I dreamed about being a doctor at 12, or I wanted to do this." That's why because I didn't have that figured out. I had no idea. I come from, somewhat of a career. I spent 21 years at the U.S. Postal Service. I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. So I had my first lemonade stand and cookie stand, and had the audacity to put it right where, I'm from the country. So we had corner stores, and I put it right where Mr. Williams' store was, who I thought I could take him out, selling bubble gum and that kind of thing. So it goes back really, really far, but I didn't, it wasn't like I just thought it up. Again, I was introduced to this space. And so I think it's important to know that some people, when it comes to like your purpose in life, and many people set out on a journey to find out, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I feel like life is in cycles, right? You have moments of where you know what you're supposed to do. And then there are times when you're living in your purpose. But I was called to my purpose. Again, I didn't think it. And listen, I started in tech. I don't want to date myself, but I am a woman of a certain age. And so you can imagine, like, going into technology at my age, I was terrified. But I've never backed down from a challenge. So I was like, okay, I'm going to find this out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. But it was important to mention that because again, I want people to know that life is not always linear. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and where you start now, it doesn't always have to come a certain way, or you have an expectation of what success looks like, or what launching a new career looks like, or in technology looks like. You kind of just do it and you figure it out. So that's what I was talking about in terms of, yeah, I didn't dream this at 5. I didn't know I was going to do this until just a few years ago. So
Well, I appreciate your candidness, because LinkedIn, I know that's where we all pretty much got connected for the most part. I know you and I got connected outside of that in an entrepreneur circle, Kim, but
yes,
here in North Carolina. But for most part, most of the people I meet are through LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is just a funny place if you ever just pay attention to people always romanticizing their entrepreneurial journey. As you know, I've dreamed about this since I was 3 years old, and my dad had this company, or blah blah blah. Like, it's always so funny to see the stories, and most of the time they're not super believable. So I love
yes.
that you
And it's
called
not
that out.
sexy.
Exactly, yeah. It's and even what you said earlier, it's not linear. Life, first of all, life isn't linear. So
Right.
assuming that your career is going to be that way is just unrealistic. And I think
Yes.
that social media has, and we're gonna add LinkedIn into that now, right? Even though it was a networking platform for jobs, it's now become a social content creating platform. So things platforms like that have created this false reality that everything is always going to be perfect, everything is always going to be sexy, because everybody's just talking about when they reach their heights. They're sharing their wins all the time. And then that can also, that can make somebody afraid to make those steps, kind of like what Amelia was saying before. Like, all of these women that she's working with, they have these amazing talents that have nothing to do with their career of being a nurse, have nothing to do with their career of being a scientist, of being a researcher, what have you. But they have all of these talents within them, and they just need that extra motivation or that push, or just somebody saying, I can, or you can, right? Just like Monique says, helping them identify their superpower. So it's just so unique. It's so interesting how unique this panel is, and how all of you have a very, very similar mission. I just, I'm just gonna shout myself out for that, because I don't know how I'll be doing it, but it always works itself out. I don't know how that always happens, that everybody ends up having some type of synergy there, but I love it. Um, and I want to do a quick pivot beforehand. But if you all are enjoying this conversation, thus far, please type in the chat that you are still here, pound still here, hashtag still here, depending on what your generation is. Every time I say hashtag, people clown me for that. But first of all, I'm still young, and hashtag was a thing at one point. So let us know that you all are still here. And while you are all doing this, again, thank you, ladies, for taking your time out on this Thursday evening for all of us who are on the East Coast, and then even you and your midday, Amelia, on the West Coast. Thank you for taking your time out to share your light with us. So I appreciate that. So we got some still here's rolling in. We appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love doing this. I love doing this. So glad you all are enjoying this conversation. I wanted to pivot one more time to Monique. I know you don't really you didn't really mention this before, but this is something that I thought was very interesting about your profile, that you are also a part of Forbes Black Atlanta. So when people hear Forbes, they're thinking of prestige, right? And I know you mentioned that recruiter, thankfully you had a great recruiter. We've all had experiences with good and bad, but you had a great one who identified your superpower and said that you would be great at it in this career field. So talk to us a little bit about Forbes Black Atlanta. What is it, and how did you get involved with that, basically?
Okay, that's a good question. I always think about how I, when people say, well, how did you get involved? And I literally have no clue. One day I was just inside of the Slack, but I think they came across some way on LinkedIn or Instagram, and I said, oh, I want to be a part of that. And I saw what they were doing and what they represented and how they were trying to just build community for, you know, like-minded individuals like myself, like you guys, who desire to just excel in everything that they're doing. And so I got connected, and what I do remember is they had a call out for individuals. Hey, if you want to be, do more with us, reach out. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'll reach out. I love what they're doing. So let me just see what they want, because I'm already just a server at heart. I'm always serving somewhere. Okay. So I got in, and it was a role to be an advisor, a Forbes BLK, and that's how it's pronounced, BLK, but a Forbes BLK Atlanta advisor. And I interviewed with some, different individuals, and they were like, it's yours. I said, okay, what does that mean? So once I learned more about Forbes BLK's mission, and the best way I can kind of just sum it up is Forbes BLK represents community. They represent access to a variety of things: capital, connectivity, relationships, tools, etc. And then I also think about resources. So community, access, resources. Those are the three things that pop up into my brain if I try to sum up Forbes BLK Atlanta and Forbes BLK as a whole. And so what we do, and what my job is to do, is to activate people, activate communities, activate events, activate programs, activate webinars, and to get those that are like-minded, get those who desire to move to that next place in their business or career, get them together and get them exactly whatever it is that they need. Everyone has a different need. That's one thing I've noticed in Forbes BLK. Everyone is at a different level, but every person has the right mindset. Every person that's in Forbes BLK, and we have over 40,000 people, by the way, but every person in Forbes BLK, they actually desire to succeed and do it intentionally, and when you succeed intentionally, which is one of my things, that's what I love to say, succeed intentionally. When you succeed intentionally, it means that you can't do it by yourself. And that's what Forbes BLK represents. And so if someone here is like, I want to be a part of it, but I don't think I can afford it, or I don't think that it's right for me, it's an application process. It surely is. They're going to take a look at some of the things that you're currently doing and, what your background is in and things of that nature. But if you exude success, if you exude aspiring to succeed, I'm I'm sure you'll get selected. So right now at this point, it is a complimentary membership. So you don't have to worry about paying anything right now at this moment. So yes, you just go to Forbes.com. You can email ForbesBOK at Forbes.com and gain more information. But again, myself and three other amazing advisors, we all serve with Forbes BOK Atlanta, and we cover all of the regions of Georgia, and we love what we do. We love serving, and we love our community.
I love that. That is so that was a line. That was a bar, we call it, right? Succeed intentionally. I see myself and my good friend Joseph mentioned that in the chat. I love what you said about that. Wow, that was very powerful. And I saw Amelia backstage snapping her fingers. See, we got some poets here, y'all. We're not just founders, we are poets, right?
That's
I
right.
love that. So
Thank
I
you.
want to ask you, what does BLK stand for? I feel like I know what that stands for, but I just want to be certain.
So at this stage, it's just BLK.
Okay. All
It's
right.
just BLK. So yeah, so it's. I want you to keep in mind with Forbes BLK, it's owned by Forbes, right? So
Okay.
it's not necessarily Black owned, right? However, it is it is the epitome of allyship, and I'm not talking about phony allyship or performance allyship. You know what I'm talking about? I'm saying real deal allyship, and I think that that's the most important piece of it. So I think abbreviating that to be okay, and I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone, just my own interpretation, is because it's for everyone who desires to be a part of Force Be Okay and support a community of people of color who are sometimes overlooked and underrepresented. So that's my answer.
You could be a great politician. You served that answer very well. That was amazing. So yeah, I see you're very good at your job. I love that. So
Thank
great
you.
answer there. The reason why I wanted to highlight that is because I did want to see if the intention was to provide more resources for underrepresented founders, because that's what our panel is. So this isn't just a hobby. This is a business that I have right here. I'm a founder in a sense as well, but my mission is not to start my own app or anything like that. My mission is to educate and provide access, provide resources, because I realize my community, the only reason why we are not as successful in certain areas is because we don't have the information.
Yeah.
That's it. Once we have the information, it is over, right? I was just on the phone with a friend of mine, and he's also a former client of mine who was able to break into the software industry. He's a what we call he's a implementation specialist, which is post sales, but it's basically his role is kind of pre-sales as well as a solutions engineer or sales engineer. And he travels. He's always like, Aileah, I'm coming from New York. I'm coming from Orlando. His clients fly him out all the time. But he also has a side hustle, right? Since we're talking about side hustles, where he has a whole tax preparing business. And even though he's very successful in his career, he also makes sure that he always has his business on the side. And we were just talking about it because I have my side hustles. This is a side hustle. I have other side hustles that have nothing to do with and true businesses that have nothing to do with technology, because of the space that we're in, but they're also very lucrative. And a lot of times, even with his, I'll say his company being a tax preparing business, it's not very sexy business, but it's a necessary business. It's a needed business. And a lot of us overlook that. And I'm saying us in my community, we overlook those things because it isn't sexy, because it's not hair, nails, and whatever, swag and all that stuff. But it is a very necessary business. It's a very needed business. And nobody can take that away from you, right? So when you are able to step into your empowerment, step into your power, and identify not only your skill set, but also be exposed to different industries, be exposed to different resources. You never know what heights that can take you to. And I really love that we have this diverse panel here. I love the fact that Forbes BLK does offer those different resources, because as founders and business owners, we are overlooked a lot of times for funding. I do work for a minority-owned startup here based out of North Carolina, and it is an amazing startup where we focus on it's HR technology, but we also incorporate artificial intelligence, very similarly to Monique's mission, and I'm going to connect you all very soon after we wrap this up. But we also help the applicants identify their skill set, and then also what they're passionate about, their values, and connect them with companies that have those same values through gamification, through artificial intelligence, and so many different things. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal business. So much so that our co-founder, who is a technical co-founder, left LinkedIn to come and help us build this business. But there's lack of acknowledgement, there's lack of funding, and I truly believe that it's only because it is a minority owned business, right? So I love the fact that there are allied companies out there like Forbes Black, like the Google for startups and Microsoft for startups, and that specifically help these communities get this type of funding. And that's what I also love to do with this platform as well, is bring awareness to amazing companies like Fearless Her, amazing companies like Just Her Rideshare, so that way you all can have an opportunity to be a part of that development as well. Now I see some comments rolling in. We're gonna start rolling in some questions here. We're gonna go to the Q&A in a moment. All right. So I want to see what we got here. Y'all enjoying this chat so far?
Absolutely. And Aileah, I wanted to, can I comment on that piece really quickly about what you
Absolutely.
said in terms of the minorities, well, the app and not having enough traction and awareness
Absolutely.
and things like that. A lot of times and you see that global in front of my word, in front of my title, that's intentional. So a lot of times we think that our resources are only here in our surroundings, in wherever
Talk about it,
the
Monique.
region is, you know what I mean? And truth be told, there's someone in Kenya, there's some president, governor in Africa that desires what you have to offer. Now, I didn't even mention that because I said, oh my gosh, I feel like I wear so many hats. I want to take this whole time to tell everything that I do. But I'll say this, I'm one of the board members for Global Entrepreneurship Festival. It's one of the largest festivals in the world. Okay. Thousands and thousands of individuals will be here in Nigeria in November 11th through the 13th. And so I'll be there, and Fresh Talent Solutions will be there. Daughters of Destiny will be there. And we're coming to connect with individuals that are rich beyond our thought process. And
Mm-hmm.
and here's the thing, the investors there they look like us, and they're ready for something that can change the world, not in the United States, not just your city, but the world. And so bringing those types of app ideas in front of those types of professionals, those types of people, those types of regions, that's what it's about too. And so we have to remember to expand beyond our borders, and not be afraid to go overseas. So if you're watching this, go to globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com and check out what we're doing. And I'm telling you, you will be thoroughly impressed. And I'm gonna suggest another thing. Get over there during that time. If just take a look at some of the speakers, these are world-renowned speakers. Take a look at them and get in the room. Get in the room. So that's my little tidbit that I wanted to say to our startup founders and our people of color that are looking for funding and they haven't been able to find it in their own backyard. Guess what? There's people waiting to spend all that good, rich money on you, but they just haven't heard of you. They just haven't met you, and you're you're not going over to where they are, and you're not even thinking of them as an audience.
Man, if y'all could see our faces
I know.
backstage, if you could see Kimberly, Amelia, and my face backstage, we're trying to be professional. We are, but
Yes.
it's okay. This has nothing to do with my job or anything. You can scream, you can run around the room because that's how it feels. You know, when she was talking, like you were saying so many things, and I see a comment from Shamoy says that she has chills. Now that is so true. Oh my goodness, like you said so many great things about like how we're just a lot of times we're one dimensional. We limit ourselves is what I got from that, right? We limit ourselves because we think that we are as we are as big as our backyard. We are as big as the borders around us. And I love that so much because a friend of mine, we talk about this all the time. She's trying to switch from the healthcare industry into the software industry, but she's an avid traveler, and that's one of the motivations from her wanting to switch into the software industry. She's a talented programmer, you know, but she's having trouble getting that recognition. So she's been talking about like, hey, you know, if I find a job in Mexico, if I find a job in, you know, Jamaica or anywhere, I'm gone. And I love the way that she thinks about life because so many of us don't think about it that way. We think that the richest people are here in, you know, the United States. They might be in North Carolina, Atlanta, you know, LA, Compton, wherever. But you said so many great things that people just can't invest in what they don't know. So you need to put yourself out there. So thank you so much. I'm opening up the floor for the other ladies because I know y'all have something to say about that.
Well, I want to jump in because Monique, I am just happy that you said that because I have been thinking about that. So last evening, I was a part of a documentary panelist that talked about, in particular in Charlotte, sort of the ecosystem, the business ecosystem, how it impacts Black businesses, entrepreneurs, founders, and one of the topics that we talked about is really the support of founders around funding and how certain areas, in particular Charlotte, which is deemed a very cliquish sort of gatekeeping kind of space. It's good to know because I've always been open to going outside of the country. I've been open to going international. I've received some invitations from Asia to Africa to Trinidad for potential partnerships as well. So it's good to hear you say that we have options when we know how hard it is to fundraise, in particular for Black women founders. It's good to put that out there and let people know that wealth is not just here, that it is abroad. And if you get connected with the right people, like yourself, which I'm going to be connecting with you, then you will see that the doors open up to you. So thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important too that we do what Kim is saying to do, which is I don't know if anyone missed that, but she said she was meeting with a group of founders that look like her. And so, you know, not to plug Forbes Be Okay again, but that's another form as well. But she's probably got a little mastermind right here, you know, within her group. And that's what it's about, like touching people and not trying to do this by yourself. I think, you know, that's what we do. I don't want to categorize us, but a lot of times because of what we've been through, because of the oppression, because of a lot of rejection, we don't feel like we can trust others, and we want the goods for ourselves. You know, we want to do this, we want to do that, and that's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to share. If we truly understand what our purpose on earth is, and I don't want to get gospel-y, but if we understand our purpose on earth,
go for it.
Okay? Listen, if we understand who we are to serve one another. The greatest thing we can do is lay our life down for a brother. So if we're to serve others as the main point of what we're supposed to do, in addition to spreading the gospel, but the biggest point is showing the love. The love comes from here's my resources. here's this, here's that, here's what I have to offer. If you're not that kind of person and you're trying to figure out, why is everything I touch failing? Why am I not able to get into those rooms? The places that I have been, stewardship is an amazing word. The places that I have been, listen, y'all, to get real, I have no college degree.
Mm-hmm.
I have no
Me
college degree. I have no college degree. So I dropped out of college and became a hard worker. And I became a person that liked to connect people. I will never be broke because I have favors from years and years and years of connecting people and giving out resources and serving and helping. I can give you story upon story, even with my time in Henry County and me serving. And my son, he went through a little bout of depression because his grandmother passed. And he was in a nice elite school. They wanted to kick him out. And they said, well, wait a minute. Monique Davis is his mom? Okay, well, maybe not. We won't kick him out. And it was just that simple because I had served. I had volunteered. I had given to those teenagers, those young people. I had paid some of their scholarships. I'd done some stuff. So therefore, I didn't have to get the consequence that I should have received because of my heart to serve. So I don't know who I'm saying this for. I feel like it's meant for someone who's listening right now, but you have to get out of the place of isolation and connect with community and go and serve somewhere so that you can get to where you're supposed to go, because you can't go by yourself. You just can't.
That is a whole word. And I wanted to speak to serving. I would add and say serve without expectation of receiving anything back.
Yeah.
If you're going to serve, make sure you have the right heart posture and you're serving because it's what you're called to do and you feel like your purpose there, and release the outcome. And then that's when the magic happens.
Every time.
Wow. Release the outcome. I'm so glad that this is being recorded, because this is one of those things that, first of all, I do this all the time. I always watch my episodes back like immediately, and then I watch them again and again and again, because it's hard to get everything when you're in the moment. But these ladies are saying so many great things right now, and I just really want y'all to hold on to the words that they're saying. You can get preachy. This is my show, so you know, I'm completely fine.
You know,
with
when
that.
it's on LinkedIn and all these other platforms, you're like, okay, I don't know how she wants to go with this. I don't want to be, stepping over anything. But yeah, but that's my lane all day long. That's what I do first and foremost. But I try my best to not Bible thump people in the head, because I need them to see me. I need them to see him in me. Like, I need them to see the love. I need them to see my heart before they know what my religious beliefs are. And you get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm always cautious and making sure that I'm respectful of whoever's platform I'm on.
Well, I appreciate the respect.
I was going to say, you're on the right panel, because I'm right there with you, because I would have never jumped into full-time entrepreneurship. I think being laid off was a gift for me.
Amen.
And I would have never jumped into it without having faith that it was going to work. So faith comes before the actions, right? And so I'm like, you're on the right platform today, girl. They didn't hear it. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, and just what you said, Monique. You can show yourself, you can show your light without actually verbalizing everything, all your individual beliefs, because that's what a lot of people fail to realize. I very seldomly mention my religion, but you're going to know who I follow. You're going to know who I represent because of how I carry myself. I don't care who you are, what you are. I'm an ally all day. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, my goal is to show you what true love looks like, to show you what true community looks like, to show you what true, friendship looks like. And also that support. You said so many things earlier, like we try to do so many things alone, and whoever we are, like, right, whoever you identify as right, we try to do things alone. We could be people of color, we could be women, we could be Americans. It doesn't matter. We try to do things alone because of the fact that we've been burnt so much. And it's not that we don't want help. It's the fact that we've tried to get help before, and people may have stolen our ideas. People may have, tried to squash our dreams and our motivation. Like, why are you trying to do that? Like, you think you this or you think you that. People might have tried to, squash our dreams as well, just off of the fact that they were unsuccessful. They tried it before and they were unsuccessful. So you can't be successful because I wasn't successful, right? So I actually grew up with the mindset that, like, um that I need to move in silence. I need to not say all of the great things that I'm doing all the time, or the things that I want to do, because people can speak against that. But I'm now in a season where I'm like, whatever is for me is going to be for me regardless. I don't care if you know about it or not, and we need to speak about it a lot of times. When we learn something, or when we are blessed with an opportunity, if it doesn't feel right for you, share it with somebody else. Like, I shared something with my homegirl the other day. It was a scholarship, and I was like, it's coming to me. I know for a fact that it's only coming to me because of I have this platform, but I don't need it. So I'm going to send it over to her. And if you're going to get in positions like that a lot as you start to develop in whatever capacity. But just because it's not for you at the time, that doesn't mean that you don't need to take that information, but you should give it back out. You should always reach back out and help somebody else, because you absolutely do not know how it's going to change someone else's life, or how it's going to impact someone else's life. So you don't got to walk around talking about whatever religion you are. It doesn't matter. I have friends who come from who are Hindu, who are Islamic, who are Sikh, who are Buddhists, who are atheists, for real, like, who are atheists, and we're still friends. We're still friends, because at the end of the day, whatever somebody believes, that doesn't have anything to do with you, right? That doesn't have anything to do with you, but you need to always operate within your light. And if you're operating within your light and operate within your mission, then everything else will fall in line. You don't have to push anything down anyone's throat, because people are going to naturally gravitate towards you. And
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
It's based off of what you said.
Yes.
I think there's also an obedience factor, right? Because we were just talking about our beliefs and stuff, right? So I feel like if you say yes to that thing that you're called to, that's like the first step. And then getting into community. And someone had just mentioned down in the comments about having discernment. So I don't share every single thing that I am doing. I do have a really good openness. The minute I was laid off, I took a second or two to think about it. And then I recorded a video and posted it on LinkedIn. I put myself in a position where I gave myself something to lose, because that's what I needed to drive me. So I'm like, if I put this out here into the world, I cannot quit this. Like, I have to keep going. But I thought about it before I did it. So I do think oh my gosh, I know it's kind of lost in the chat right now, but I do think wisdom and discernment and obedience play a factor in having success in where you're going next.
Yes. And I just want to jump in and say, because when sort of, this is my jam, because I don't move, I don't breathe, I don't do anything without him. But I think the greatest gift that we all have is to have a human connection with each other. That was the thing that when I knew, someone asked me recently on a panel, how did you know that this was the time? Like, this was the appointed time? Because, sometimes, we move and we're saying, okay, is this from you or is this me? But the moment that I connected with people, with women, and they said that you have what I want, or what I desire, what you're doing is good. Once I had that human connection, I was like, it's a go. Because when I'm out pitching, I'm not always looking for a check. I'm looking to first have a human connection with you, because I know if we connect there, everything is going to be revealed. Whether you should be in my space, I should be in your space, whether I should serve you, you should serve me. So I think that's the greatest gift that we could have, is get to know people first on a human level, and then everything else will fall into place, whatever that looks like, for individuals. So I love this. I mean, this is my jam. because I got to tell you, I am in an industry, I am truly the David and Goliath. I am in an industry where I was told that no one expected us to be here 3.5 years later. So it is only by his power and his grace that we are still here, that we are having conversations with industry leaders. No one ever imagined it. And it is certainly not anything that I could have done within my own strength and power. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to share. This is an amazing, you ladies are absolutely amazing. And this is what I love, because this is the connection that I thrive off of. I'll tell you real quick. My husband used to tell me, he would be working in the other part of when we were working from home. And I would just be so happy. And he would, because he knew we were raising capital, and he would come in and he would say, did somebody just write you a check? And I would be like, no, but I just had this amazing human connection with someone that I know is going to be a part of my life. And that meant more to me than, yeah, we'll get the check, we'll get to the bag, but here's the real thing. Here's what really matters.
I love that, Kim. And that is a excellent segue into me shouting out some of the people that helped me meet you all. So I wanted to shout out Ty and Ayana. I love y'all like so much. Y'all are some of my favorite people that I've ever met, like in life, period. And I've only met them in person one time. But when you meet your people, right? And I also want to shout out Sean. Exactly. I want to shout out Sean for introducing me to Monique. So Sean is a powerhouse in his own right, and I've actually interviewed him on the podcast individually a few months ago. I think sometime like towards the end of last year. He has a great episode where he talks about his experience being a VP in the startup world. But that's the power of connecting, right? That's the power of connecting. When you meet people that understand your value and understand what your mission and where you're trying to go, no matter how big you may think you are or how small you may think you are, when other people see that value in you, they're going to make things happen for you regardless, right? So that check may not come right away, but that person is going to put you in contact with that person that can get you that check. That person is going to put you in contact with that person that can get you on that right stage. And I've said this on my platform recently that I turned down. At the time, it was one opportunity, but I just turned down another opportunity to be on very big stages in the tech industry. Not because I don't think that it's a great space to be in, but because I don't feel called to do that right now. I feel called to do something else right now, and then I can come and be in that space. But a lot of people in this position, they be like, "Oh, you're crazy. Why wouldn't you go there? You're going to be on stage with this person, that person, that person." But if I don't feel called to be in that place, I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being authentic, and I'm stepping out of my purpose. I'm stepping out of my mission. And again, what Amelia said earlier is you want to do things I can't word it correctly, but you can fill it in, but you want to do things without expecting anything back, right? In return, right? So, and that's the true meaning of operating within your mission, and also operating honestly with gratitude, which is one of my personal values. So I truly love that, because this is just a full circle moment just to really pinpoint the people that connected me to you all. So I love that.
Shout out to Sean and Ray.
Absolutely. So I'm seeing the comments roll in. Okay, so I did not mean for this to go as long as it did before we started the Q&A, but when the spirit moves you, that's where you want to go. That's all I'm gonna say about that, right? So let me see what Shamoy had to say. She's been in the comments now. She says in Jamaica we say good friend better than pocket money. I love that. I love that. And I heard her accent. I actually know Shamoy, so I heard her accent in my head. So love that. So with our 10 minutes that we have left, anyone who's watching, one, you don't even have to say still here, because I see you all in the comments. So I appreciate you all there. But anyone who's still watching, think about something that one of our panelists have said, write it down and just drop it in the chat. Write it down and drop it in the chat. And also for those who can't think about something that moved them today, I would love for you to put in the chat a question that you may have about for any of our founders. This is a live conversation. They're able to answer you in real time. And this is opportunity for you to either pour into them or receive information from them at this time. So, and while they're doing that, again, I want to thank you ladies for your time. This has been amazing. It's just I was trying to figure out how this conversation was going to flow with everybody being so different, but at the end of the day, we're all about building community, and I truly love that.
Thank you for the opportunity, Aileah. This was really great. I knew that it was going to be great energy when I popped in on the meet and greet. I couldn't stay long, but I knew that it was going to be a good conversation. And I just, again, I trust my creator, and so I just knew I don't say yes to everything, and so the same as you. And so when this was presented, I thought about it and I said, okay, yeah, I feel that. Let's do it. And so it's been beneficial, I think, all the way around the board, because I love what you're doing. You're a young woman, young lady, and you have big vision, and you're also grounded, and you're allowing, our creator to mold you. And that's what's missing with a lot of young people. Like they don't want that molding. They want to go straight to the top. I want to go to the stage even if I don't have anything to say. And so the fact that you're saying, no, I'm mature enough to know, and I discern well enough to know, that right now may not be my time, but I will have a time. But right now, I'm just developing character. I'm developing my next idea. I'm developing this. I'm developing that. And then I'll come out to the forefront. That takes tremendous maturity. And I believe that you're going to be blessed because of it. So that's my
Well,
2 cents.
that warmed my heart. I thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And you're calling me a young lady, but I feel like we got to be around the same age. I'm hearing son. I don't know how old your children are, but black don't crack. So I'm like, how old is she calling me a young lady? I'm in my 30s, honey.
Girl. and I'm older than that. So there you
That is
go.
amazing.
And I said I'm a woman of a certain age, so you'd be really surprised.
I left
That's a blessing in
30s.
itself.
Right. I left 30s a while ago, honey. So my son is 18.
Wow. I love that. I'm trying to be like y'all when I finish growing up.
But I
Awesome.
love that. I love that you thought I was your age. I am definitely going to make sure I share that with my husband and my son to say, they thought I was.
Yeah. Yes. I did. I thought you were because Sean is my age. We're around the same age, right? But everybody has their different levels of maturity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I did want to ask a question. Are we able to share a way for individuals to connect with us?
Absolutely. So I'm going to get to that as soon as we get these questions rolling, in which I do see. So I'm going to put this on the screen. I don't know who this is for, but I'm going to read it in real time, and you all can as well. All right. So we appreciate that. I don't know what is your name. What's your name? Share your name with us so we can address you properly. Thank you for that. So we do have a question that popped in aside from our thank yous, and it says, what events do you all have coming up? So is this for all of our panel, or is it this for me directly for me? Okay. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for tuning in as well. I don't think we've seen you before, so thank you. So I'm going to open up the floor in a moment here for our panelists to leave us with a word of encouragement. I always say, what's your life philosophy? Mine is to always operate with gratitude. You never know when just a thank you can make somebody's life day, or make them want to stay around for another day. So I always say operate with gratitude. So I would love for everyone to not only go around the virtual room and tell us what your life philosophy is, but also tell us how our audience can actually connect with you.
That's a loaded question. Like your life philosophy. That's kind of heavy. I'm not sure about that. What I will say is if you have an idea in your head that you're obsessed about, you cannot stop thinking about it. You have the responsibility to release it out into the world. Because if it's coming to the point of obsession, you're thinking about it, you're at work, and you're like, I got to get this idea out here, and you're looking at the impact of it, there's a cost if you don't do it. So measure the cost. But as far as events, I do have a Fearless Her Social, which is like a networking event without the snooze. Tomorrow in Oakland. So I don't even know if anyone is listening from California, but I like bringing together all different types of women from different backgrounds, from STEM to education to healthcare, different facets of tech. And most of them, again, want to become entrepreneurs, and just collaborating is just amazing to get us all into the one room together. So it's nice to meet y'all, and you can find me here on LinkedIn, or you're on YouTube maybe, but if you find me on LinkedIn, connect with me, let me know you listen to the show.
Wonderful. And Aileah, let me just say thank you so much for allowing me to share your space. I do not take it for granted when I come into the presence of greatness. I think my philosophy is just I'm really big on just showing up as who we are, like just raw, organic, authentic, because I did go through life as a young adult, feeling insecure and, looking good on the outside, dressing, career going good, but dying on the inside because I was living a lie, because I wasn't showing up as my authentic self. Not on purpose, but it was what I thought I needed to do to please the world around me. So I always say, show up as you every single day so that people that you come in contact with get to experience the realness of who God made you. Like if you don't show up as yourself and you're faking the funk, I don't get to see the great things that God has created. And that is the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, whatever. So just be authentic and show up. Events coming up for us are mostly civic events, social impact, where we're going to be doing women's centric events, doing some work with the Urban League, speaking and mentoring young aspiring entrepreneurs, speaking to them. We've got some huge events coming up where we're the travel sponsor for some amazing large clusters of women organizations. You can follow us on all social media platforms. Connect with us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my place. But follow us on social media at Just Her Ride. And I'd like to do this if I could. So for those of you who are in the Charlotte area, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, or Columbia, South Carolina, if you go and download the app, we'd love to give you a discount off on your first ride, 15%. Just connect with us. Let us know that you're supporting us, that you're with us. And so we will do that. I hope I can do that little promo for your listeners, Aileah. But again, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure to share this space with all of you amazing women. So thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all again, ladies. I'm gonna open up the floor again for some more comments to come in, and then we're gonna also let Monique give her closing remarks. You can go ahead, Monique. I'm sorry.
Sure. So, man, I have a couple of different mantras that I live by. Succeed intentionally was one that I mentioned before, but I'll say something new since I already said that. So I'll say that, the label that you have, it doesn't matter. The labels don't matter. It's the content of the bottle that really, really makes a difference. And even God doesn't look at our labels. We can all have, executive, senior VP of XYZ and all of these other things. But at the end of the day, what's here? What's inside? Right. And so if you can focus on, just like Kim mentioned, if you can just focus on learning about who you are, that's one of the things that I love to do. When I said identify your superpowers, I don't just help you identify those superpowers, but I also help you identify those blind spots that you can't see, those flaws that prevent you from being the type of person that someone would even want to collaborate with. And so and that's a segue into what I have going and coming up next. So what I have coming up next, I'll go ahead and add it here. But basically, it is a free workshop It's a free workshop called I call it a BLK Executive Edge, but it's really for those small business owners and those professionals that desire to scale up in their business, and they want to start to build a team, but they don't want to just build any team. They want to build a powerhouse team. They want to build a super amazing team that relies on each other, that has the cohesion, that has a great culture. And so what I do is I help even toxic employees. If you have a toxic employee, I help you to create a variety of ways to engage them and to also to find out how to work well together. And so that workshop is coming up. It's open to anyone who is an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a decision maker, a manager, any leader who's saying, you know what, I need my team to perform at 10x. I need them to perform better. And so that's what I'm doing. And while there, you'll have a free assessment to be able to, a behavior oriented assessment where you can see, okay, what is in me that's causing me to do this thing here, that toxic thing that we all have. We all have toxic traits, but what's causing me? What's the root cause of it? And how do I overcome it so that I can be the best, whatever that I want to be? So that is coming up May 1st. And you're all invited. It is 100% free, and it's just helpful to get you to your next place, and that's being in a team environment and not making people want to pull their hair out when they're around you. So hopefully that helps you see a little bit what I have coming up, and it was a pleasure. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, Aileah. It's been awesome.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you, ladies, for joining again. This has been an honor and privilege. I'm really excited. Like I said, this has been the most intimate panel that I've had, but everything happens for a reason, right? So you all have shared really, really great things with our audience. I'm gonna take all of that information from them, and I'm gonna put them in the description of our YouTube channel. So I would love for you all to follow us. If you're not already, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is very new, so we're building that. But as you can see, we've uploaded several videos. Of course, I'm the host and founder of the I'm Breaking Into Tech podcast, but I also am the founder of the community overall, and I do have two other co-hosts that have their own segment. So Dom, he has Conversations with Dom. He's a senior sales engineer. He works for Asana. And I may be butchering his title, but he's a big dog, basically. And then we also have KJ, who I believe is a principal sales engineer at Salesforce. So they have their own vibe. They bring on their own founders and leaders within the industry and talk about mentorship and leadership and and connections and relationship building, which Dom is phenomenal at. So I will encourage you to watch his episodes. And then also KJ, he's a guy's guy. So if you all want to just have a bro to watch, he's great, and he's very, very knowledgeable about the industry. So that you can tune into that every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We premiere new episodes. We have a surprise coming up in a few months where we are expanding. So to answer your question on my behalf, Rashad, what things do I have coming up? So this is going to grow. I'm very much a touchy person. So we are growing to the point where we're going to start doing in-person meetups and events, primarily starting on the East Coast, and then we're going to work our way to the Midwest and then the West Coast. So keep an eye out. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Follow us on LinkedIn, our personal, our business page, which is I'm Breaking Into Tech, and then also follow me just to be on the up and up. So I don't post personal content as often because I'm doing so many different things, but I would love for you all to still be in the know by hitting that bell. Also, if you are specifically interested in project management, program management, or product management, I have a free community called the PM's Corner, where we meet once a month. And we just met yesterday, actually. We meet once a month, and we talk about everything PM. So how to get into the industry. We give free tips, career tips, etc. And we also have a free Slack community where we give exclusive job offers, exclusive job resources within our community as well, and also any type of job postings that you might not necessarily find on social media. So please join that. We have directors in our group. It's very new as well, but mighty. We also have managers in our group, and then we also have a certification study group. We're all studying right now for our PMP certification. Next is going to be product ownership. And then we're also going to Agile Approach, which is an in-person event. So we travel with each other as well. So reach out to me. Again, I'm all about community. And if you all enjoyed this show, please share it with somebody else in your network. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Before we go, though, I know we're a little bit over time. But before we go, I want to open up the floor one more time to see if anyone had any questions or comments. And while we're doing that, I do have a question or a request from you all. So if you all know anything about me outside of this, I'm not just a host, I'm a speaker, right? I am a public speaker, I'm a professional speaker, and I specifically talk about career development. I travel to high schools, colleges, and even speak to in professional organizations about career development, specifically in the space of ethical artificial intelligence and how to use that in the recruitment space, as well as for those who are neurodivergent, how to be successful in your career. I'm neurodivergent, y'all, and I'm very open about that. Like, I might be all over the place. You might play this back and see, like, what's she talking about? But it comes together eventually. So I always talk about how people can be successful, not only in school, but in the workplace, right? Mm-hmm. So if you all are looking for a speaker, reach out to me. And I have a pretty big platform where I've been going around and talking to the youth for several years, honestly, especially in my professional career. So please reach out. And if you enjoyed this chat, do me a favor. Please scan this QR code or go to this website and type in innovate for me and give me some feedback. Let me know whether or not you actually enjoyed this conversation if you want to see more of these. Again, this is a free service I give you all, so that way you can be your best selves. You can become your best selves in your career as well as in your business. So this will help me out tremendously to know if you all are enjoying this and if you still want to see more of these. All right. And while you all are doing that, I'll give you a few moments here. While you all are doing that, any final words from the ladies? We can talk while this is on the screen. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you all again. I appreciate you all so much. And let me take this off. I appreciate you all so much for everything that you all have contributed to us in your time. And we will see you next time.